We're gonna have to have all hands on deck for the series. I mean, that's just when you're shorthanded. He's got to be ready.
LeBron James spent the last 2 years defending his son Bronny from critics who insisted he didn't belong in the NBA. He went at Stephen A. Smith courtside, pushed back on social media, and brushed aside every question about whether Bronny truly earned his spot. But now, his own head coach, J.J. Redick, may have just said what everyone else was thinking. He admitted that Bronny is only getting playoff minutes because the Lakers are shorthanded and need all the help they can get. That's not exactly praise. It's something else entirely. When your own coach explains your playing time by pointing to injuries and necessity and says you've improved a lot instead of calling you ready or impactful, what does that really mean? Is it a subtle way of admitting you're not quite NBA ready, especially when even your father can't step in and defend it anymore? This feels like the moment LeBron has been trying to hold off for years. Bronny James has been on the Lakers roster since being selected 55th overall in the 2024 draft. And now the conversation is no longer about potential. It's about reality.
With the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James from the University of Southern California.
For the past 2 years, LeBron has been the most vocal supporter of his son's place in the league. He's gone back and forth with media figures, confronted critics head-on, and used social media to shape the narrative that Bronny belongs at this level. But then came a moment that shifted everything. Lakers head coach J.J. Redick was asked a simple question about Bronny's readiness for meaningful playoff minutes, and his response unraveled 2 years of carefully managed messaging in seconds. Redick didn't talk about talent, impact, or readiness. Instead, he said the team would need all hands on deck for the series, especially being shorthanded. He added that Bronny just has to be ready. And just like that, the conversation changed.
We're gonna have to have all hands on deck for the series. I mean, that's just when you're shorthanded. He's got to be ready.
Let's break that down. Bronny isn't getting minutes because he's earned them through performance. He's getting them because the Lakers are short on healthy players, and everyone available has to be ready. That's not confidence. That's necessity. It's the kind of situation where teams aren't choosing their best options. They're using whatever options they have left. And Redick didn't stop there. He added that Bronny has improved a lot. On the surface, that sounds positive, but listen closely. That's not the language used for players who are ready to contribute right now. It's what coaches say about long-term projects. Players still trying to reach NBA level. Not ones who've already proven they belong. Not he's ready. Not he's part of the rotation. Not he helps us win. Just improved. That distinction matters. For 2 years, LeBron defended his son at every turn, pushing back against criticism, controlling the narrative, standing firm in the belief that Bronny belonged. But now, the 2025-26 season, the numbers, and even the tone coming from inside the Lakers organization are telling a different story, one that's harder to push aside. And then there's a moment that says the most. LeBron standing just a few feet away while those comments were made with nothing to add. No pushback, no correction, no defense. Just silence. Because what can you say when your own head coach frames the situation as necessity rather than merit? That silence speaks louder than any statement ever could. The narrative that's been carefully built is starting to crack. The defense is fading, and the reality people have been pointing to is finally coming into focus. So now the conversation shifts to the one place that doesn't bend: numbers. Because no matter how much you talk about effort, development, or potential, the stat sheet doesn't lie. And right now, it's not making a strong case for Bronny as an NBA-level contributor.
I would say to LeBron James, do you not know who these NBA players are? Do you not know who your contemporaries are? Do you not know how great the NBA players are, the greatest players in the world? And your son is being exposed. Bronny James, I hope he's an NBA player someday. I'm rooting for him. I'm cheering for him all day, every day. But he's not ready yet. Opening night is one thing. Continuing him in NBA games is another. It shouldn't have been 2 games he played in, let alone 13. Come on.
All right.
Pop's got to step in and yo, I can't expose my son to this just yet. This ain't right, respectfully. It's not right.
Let's start with his rookie season in 2024 to 25. Across 27 games, Bronny averaged just 2.3 points, 0.7 rebounds, and 0.8 assists in about 6.7 minutes per night. He shot 31.3% from the field and 28.1% from three. His PER sat around 8.4, well below the league average of roughly 15 for a rotation-level player. His win shares were basically neutral, and his plus-minus was negative in most stretches. Those aren't the numbers of a young player steadily figuring things out. They reflect someone struggling to make an impact at the NBA level. Now, the 2025-26 season has shown some improvement, which is exactly what LeBron and the Lakers have been pointing to. Through 42 games, Bronny is averaging 2.9 points, 0.5 rebounds, and 1.2 assists in 8.9 minutes per game. His field goal percentage has climbed to 40.9%, and his three-point shooting has jumped to 38.6% on 1.4 attempts per game. That rise from 28.1% to 38.6% from deep is real. It's meaningful progress. In today's NBA, where spacing is everything, that's easily the most encouraging sign in his development. His 85.7% free throw shooting also hints at solid shooting mechanics, but context matters. Hitting 38.6% from three on just 1.4 attempts in under 9 minutes isn't the same as maintaining that efficiency on higher volume and heavier minutes. Defenses don't treat him like a primary threat. They give him space, close out lightly, and challenge him to prove it consistently. When the shots fall, the numbers look respectable. When they don't, there's little else to fall back on. He's not consistently creating off the dribble. He's not generating offense for teammates. At this stage, his role is limited to spot-up shooting in short bursts. And that's where the conversation about his G League performance comes in. Yes, with the South Bay Lakers, Bronny has at stretches averaging between 15 and 22 points, along with 3 to 5 assists, and has flirted with highly efficient shooting splits near 50/40/90. He's had multiple 20-point games and shown flashes of ball handling, playmaking, and rebounding for his size.
The back of the rim, ball picked up by South Bay. On the right side, a cutting Bronny James going up, slam, dunk, Bronny James.
Shawty got a nice little follow, and then you see talking about a follow, Bronny James following the play.
But the G League isn't the NBA. The pace is different. The players aren't as long or as fast, and the defensive systems are far less complex. Dominating at that level, especially at 21, doesn't guarantee success in the NBA. Some players make that leap, but many never do. And there's a long track record of guards who put up big numbers in the G League, but struggle to translate that production against NBA competition. Bronny, standing around 6 feet 2 inches without shoes with a solid but not overwhelming frame, fits into that uncertain category. He's shown he can score at the G League level, but that hasn't consistently carried over against NBA defenders with greater size, speed, and discipline. The advanced metrics reinforce that concern. His career PR sits around 9.0, with win shares barely above 0. His usage rate, hovering between 15% and 18%, is low, even for a bench guard. Defensively, the numbers don't quite match the early expectations either, with averages of about 0.4 steals and 0.1 blocks per game. The raw athleticism is there. A 40.5-inch vertical from the combine shows real explosiveness. But turning those tools into consistent on-court impact at the NBA level hasn't fully happened yet. And we're now well over a year into a professional career. At some point, potential has to turn into production. When you compare him to other late second-round picks from the same class, the contrast becomes more noticeable. By their second year, most are either carving out steady rotation roles or falling out of the league altogether. Bronny sits somewhere in between, still on the roster, still seeing limited minutes, still labeled as a developmental piece. That middle ground is rare, and it naturally raises questions about how much of it is tied to circumstance. One NBA insider even suggested that Bronny's future with the Lakers beyond the 2026-27 season could depend heavily on whether LeBron remains with the team. That observation shifts the conversation. It suggests his roster spot may not be based purely on production, but also on his connection to one of the most influential players in the franchise. And once that factor is removed, everything changes. Which brings us to the bigger question. How exactly did things reach this point? Because the topic of opportunity and influence is difficult to ignore.
With LeBron, history tonight, the first father-son duo to play together in an NBA.
Bronny was selected 55th overall in the 2024 NBA draft, a move that caught many scouts and front offices off guard. Leading up to the draft, most evaluations painted him as an undersized guard whose shooting form looked promising, but whose results didn't match. During his freshman season at USC, he averaged 4.8 points per game while shooting 36.6% from the field and just 26.7% from three across 25 games. Those aren't typical numbers for a player expected to make the jump to the NBA. They're more in line with a college role player who likely needed more time to develop at the collegiate level. Still, the Lakers made the pick. The reasoning behind it has been debated from every angle. There was a widely known idea that LeBron wanted the opportunity to share the court with his son. There was also the influence of Rich Paul, who represents both players under Clutch Sports. Reports suggested some teams were discouraged from selecting Bronny earlier in the draft process. Around the league, many front office voices reportedly shared a similar concern that Bronny wasn't yet ready for the NBA and that drafting him could put him in a difficult position too soon. Even so, the Lakers moved forward, using a second-round pick on a player many believe might not have been drafted otherwise. They followed it up a multi-year deal that included partial guarantees, a level of investment not commonly seen for late second-round selections. They also kept him on the active roster during stretches where, based purely on performance, a different decision might have been expected. In similar situations, fringe players are often waived, shifted to two-way contracts, or rotated out entirely. That hasn't been the case here. And that's where the ongoing debate about opportunity and influence continues to surface. The father-son storyline only amplified everything. When Bronny and LeBron shared a floor as the NBA's first father-son duo, it became a major moment for the league. It was highlighted across broadcasts, featured in promotions, and embraced as a historic milestone. But the spotlight wasn't tied to production. It was tied to the story. Once the attention shifted back to the game itself, the gap between the narrative and on-court impact became harder to overlook. LeBron's public defense of his son has also added another layer to the situation. One of the most talked about moments came during his exchange with Stephen A. Smith, which brought even more attention to the conversation.
So JJ trying some things out there, Stephen A. in Philadelphia, giving Bronny first quarter playing time. Why the face or the hand or the everything that's happening?
I'm really, really trying to be as respectful as I possibly can be towards LeBron James. I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad.
Stephen A. Smith has been one of the most outspoken critics, consistently arguing that Bronny isn't ready for the NBA and would benefit from more time developing in the G League. He's also pointed out that LeBron's influence has placed an even bigger spotlight and pressure on Bronny's career. Those points weren't framed as personal attacks. They reflected basketball opinions shared by scouts, executives, and analysts across the league. But LeBron James didn't see it that way. Instead of letting it slide, he approached Smith courtside and confronted him directly over the comments about his son. Afterward, Stephen A. Smith explained the moment by saying LeBron approached him not as a player, but as a father, and that detail says a lot. To some, it was simply a parent defending his child. To others, it looked like LeBron James using his status to push back against criticism that many around the league believe is valid. That tension hasn't gone away. When Jaylen Brown reportedly questioned Bronny's pro readiness during Summer League, LeBron publicly acknowledged it. When criticism followed tough performances, he responded, sometimes directly, sometimes more subtly, and sometimes by stepping away from the spotlight altogether. Every time the conversation turns back to performance, LeBron steps in. Whether through statements, presence, or influence, the reaction is always there. But here's the paradox. Each response ends up reinforcing the very narrative he's trying to dismiss. If Bronny's place were unquestioned based purely on merit, there wouldn't be a need for constant public defense. There's also a noticeable difference between how LeBron describes the situation and how Bronny himself has addressed it. LeBron once suggested that Bronny ignores the noise and isn't affected by the criticism, but Bronny told a different story. In his own words, he acknowledged seeing the criticism, processing it, and feeling the weight of constantly trying to prove he belongs under intense scrutiny. And that contrast adds another layer to everything, because it shows this isn't just a media narrative, it's something being lived in real time.